everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Kathy at Attic Treasures, etc. And as you can see, I have quite the mess on my desk. So I thought it would be fun to take some of these pieces and not just put them away to be used another day. Maybe I'll just use them this day. So I already started and I made a couple of little, couple little scrappy notebooks, mostly because I just didn't want to put these away. I just thought, well, I'll just make something out of them and then I can put them in my stash of completed items. So these were just some collaged pieces, just some scraps that I had. And then, so that's what I did with them. So why don't you come along with me while I take some of these scraps and attempt to make something useful out of them so I don't have to just put them away. So here we go. Oh, I also made another one of these little flowers and a little, this little flower, I guess I don't know what to call it. Just a little pleated flower. I had a little piece of lace. Can you see? Yeah, and then I just stuck a little button on it. Okay, so let's get started. So I have here, this is some cardstock. I think it came out of a photo album. So what I thought I would do is take some of the collage pieces, you know, collage paper scraps, and put some of that on there and then just kind of go from there. So I'm going to use some matte medium. And I am just totally winging it. Okay, so here's a little piece that I thought I would add. Okay, not really caring for them. I'm going to use the collage medium to glue this down instead of the matte medium. I'll put the matte medium on top because I think the collage medium does a better job. So I hope everybody's doing okay today. Has anybody, leave me a note in the comments, has anybody noticed that their Michaels store just doesn't seem to be carrying a lot of paper craft items anymore? There are so few paper pads, at least in the Michaels stores that are near us. Very few paper pads, hardly any Tim Holtz stuff. We were just there because my husband and I both have the Michaels app on our phones, and so we both get coupons. And so whenever we have coupons to use up, we like to go there together and double up on the coupons. But this is like the second or third time I've come away from there really disappointed, so I don't think we're going to be rushing back there anytime soon. It's just too disappointing. So is that what you're experiencing in the Michaels stores near you? Or do you even have a Michaels store near you? Let's see. Where does this want to go? Don't overthink it, Kathy. Story of my life. I want to thank everybody that commented on the giveaway video. I really appreciate that. When I started this adventure about a year ago, I had no idea that I would someday have over 2,000 subscribers, but here I am, and here you are. It's exciting. Okay, so I will just tear the edges off here. Excuse me, I will put a coat of matte medium on top of this, and then while it's drying I can go on and maybe do something else. Okay, I'm going to set this aside and set that aside and look for something else to play with in here. I have this piece of wallpaper and it looks like it's been bent which, and also it has some stitching on it right there. So I'm just going to cut that off. Maybe I could make a little matchbook notebook out of it, or paper pad. And it looks like I might even be able to make 2 out of this. Get a 2 for 1. So grab some vintage photo. And ink around it. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through all of these little scraps here today, but we'll give it a shot. One of my favorite things to do with scraps like this is just, you know, if I've got the this everything here, I like to make little scrappy notepads or these little matchbooks, because they don't hardly take any time, and they can actually use up quite a few scraps. So I've got some of this paper that's quite old. Okay. I like using these little decal scissors because it just makes it look like the edges are torn. I think I'll just staple it right in there. And then down at the bottom too, looks like I am going to have to trim this just a little bit more. Which is okay. And then let's see, I have some, this is collaged music sheet. I'm going to put the top on that. These little tiny scraps can go in the recycle bin. So in one of our thrift store excursions, quite a while back now, my husband found a paper making kit that he thought I would like, and so we picked it up, and I'm just now kind of getting the idea that I want to try using it. And I've got lots and lots of paper left over. Let's see, we'll try this. So I am going to try making some paper pretty soon here. Oh, that's cute. Let's see if I can get another one out of that. So I'm using this Gilder's paste wax, and I'm just going to give a little edge, little gilded edge to these little butterflies. So this isn't really sticking very well. I'm going to try something different here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that little piece of raffia and glue that on. Get the little butterflies down. Okay, you want to see how I did that? It really works well with wired ribbon. So you just take a length of ribbon like this and kind of fold it like so. And then, I don't know how to explain what it is I'm doing, but you're just looping it around and then tightening it up. And voila, you have a bow. Looking for my Fabri-Tac, here we go. Can shorten these tails a little bit. And then to keep them from fraying, I just dab a little bit of collage medium just on the very ends of the very edge of the ribbon. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little bit of this raffia on here as well on the bottom. Can you see what I'm doing? Kind of cover up the staples. Okay, and then I think I would like to put a word on here. How about consider? Yeah. And now that I'm thinking about it, how about a little mushroom sticker? Oh, that one. Oh, these can be so hard to get off their backing. I love using them, but I don't really care for getting them off of their backing. Really, they could be really a pain, especially if you don't have nails. Like I barely have any. Okay, I love that. I think that will make a super cute addition to any journal, and we can even put a little bit of washi tape across the top there. I think I'll use this one. You may be wondering if this is an unusual way for my desk to look, and the answer is no. This is pretty much how it looks all the time when I'm in the creative mode. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Used up quite a few little scraps there and made something adorable. Okay, next. Oh, I have this one too that I want to put some paper inside. I have this coffee dyed line paper. We'll use that. So when I sell stuff out of my Etsy shop, the label only takes up half a sheet of my printer paper. So I save them up, and then in the, you know, when I have a couple of halves left over, I just pour the rest of whatever is left in the coffee pot over the top of them, and then put them on a cookie sheet, not a cookie sheet, a rack, like a cooling rack. And then I put the whole thing over one of the heater vents to dry, and I just leave it there. And then it just dries, and you know, I don't have to watch it or do anything else with it. I just leave it there. Staple right across the bottom too. Right, these are just a touch too long, so I will just trim them just a little bit. I want them to tuck in the flap, but I also don't want them to buckle up. Okay, do we have any more ribbon? I'll use washi tape across the bottom on this one. Here we go. This is the ribbon I was looking for, actually. So I'm just going to put a little bead of Fabri-Tac across the top. There we go. I'm just going to take this ribbon and just sort of squish it on and wrinkle it. So that it almost looks ruffled. And since this ribbon is sheer, it looks really delicate. I'm going to use this ribbon that I got at the Dollar Tree. It is self-adhesive, but not sure that I trust it. Oh my word, that is so cute, isn't it? Ah. Okay, I'm in love with that. I think this requires a little pink butterfly. I like that one. All right, let's continue. I'm going to ink up the butterfly a little bit to tone down that bright pink just a bit. I love the Dollar Tree butterflies. I love it when they get new packs of them in, because they're all so different. Can you guys even see what I'm doing? So sorry. That's better. I'm just going to trim off the edge, you know, the part of the wing that's hanging over. I always like the way that looks when you cut off part of the wing, because it looks like it's flying into your view. And I think I want to give this a little decorative edge right here. highlight it with some ink. Okay, I think that's adorable. Okay, so we have two now. If you didn't get a look at that first one that I did. So we have two. And let's move on to, let's go back to this one. And this one's pretty big for inside a journal, so I think I'm gonna cut it in half and then work with it, but I want to put some gloss, Mod Podge on the top. Okay, so I'm gonna just brush on some Mod Podge gloss. And then we'll let that dry some more before I cut into it. So what else do we have here? A lot of stuff. So one thing that I like to do is to take some calculator tape and then just cut off a length of it and start collaging on it. Okay, so what I like to do with the calculator tape is to, I like to glue strips on them this way, vertically, but it helps to have a base of like some of this newspaper print underneath. So if there are gaps, then you've got something that, you know, is more of a base, I guess. Okay. And it doesn't matter that they're going in different directions, because they're only there, their only purpose of being there is to provide something interesting to look at or to see underneath the strips, in case the backing shows through. And the reason I like to use a length of calculator tape is that it sort of gives me a limit of how far I'm gonna go, if that makes sense. Otherwise I'll be collaging forever. I'm gonna go ahead and trim this off too, and then that way I'll have a length for another strip of calculator tape. Putting this on as a base also makes it a little bit stronger, I think. A little sturdier. Okay, so I started with these, and I'm going to just trim off the white part and glue these back on. And now I can just keep going with whatever kinds of strips that I have. Like some of this leftover vintage lined paper. And then what these become is a base for clusters or belly bands, or, you know, whatever you like. I've also taken one of these strips and put them on a paper bag side by side, and then collaged on top of it and made a masterboard. So I just really like having things like this available. And you don't have to use just strips either. You can use, you know, do any kind of collage on here. You can cut it even with the edges if you want. I'm not being particularly precise with my cuts. So as you can see, I am literally just picking stuff up off of my table and laying it on here, just gluing it on this strip. So now I have a strip and it looks pretty nondescript at the moment. But what I'd like to do now is I'm going to cut off a piece of it. Let's see, I'm going to cut, I'll cut right here. Okay, we'll set this aside. I'm going to ink it up a little bit. And put some sort of a fussy cut on top of it. Okay, so I was looking for a focal point, and I don't know if you have seen these laser cut craft icons at the Dollar Tree, but they are so cute, and I thought I would put this little clock on here. And I have this little piece of lace, and I thought that would set it off just perfectly. So let us get the lace on here first, and then we can put the clock on there. And while I have my Gilder's paste wax out, why not play with it a little bit around the edges. Now I saw where somebody soaked these, and I wish I could remember who that was, in one of the Facebook groups, soaked these little wooden icons in water, and they kind of peeled apart, and she had several different layers of the same thing. So I'm going to try that with one of them. Not today, but at least not in this video. Okay, let's get this glued on there. Voila, an adorable little cluster. Here, what do you think? I love it. Still have this one to do. Okay, so it's nice and dry, and I'm going to slice it in half so that I can have two notepads. And I still have quite a bit of this paper, so let's see what would happen if I think if I do that, then it doesn't have to be as completely as long as the cover. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, actually I'm going to round the corners first. Put a 1/2 inch radius on it. I think my crocodile corner chomper is getting a little bit dull. I don't really know what to do about that. If you have one that's dull and you have resolved it, can you please leave me a note in the comments as to what you did? And then inking. Okay, so I'm going to put the paper in, and secure it with a paper clip for both of them. And then I'm going to punch some holes in the top and set an eyelet. So I'm using my Crocodile Big Bite. As you can tell, it's the old one. It's not blue. And I've got my backstop set, or I will set it, and I've got a big magnet holding it in place. So that way I can at least go evenly across the top. Like that. And since I'm just eyeballing it, you know, they're not going to be completely even on both sides, at least from the edges. But it's a junk journal. It's perfectly imperfect. Now all I need to do is to string some of this ribbon through. I think it needs a bow, but it needs a longer ribbon. This should do. That's one. Okay, two more little scrappy notepads. Super, super cute. So I think I'm going to call this little process done. And from all the scraps on my desk, which I still have quite a few, admittedly, but I think I did a pretty good job of reducing them. Let me get the rest of this stuff out of the way so you can see. So these two little scrappy notepads, a finished cluster, and a strip that can be made into clusters. Back off a little bit so you can see everything. These two little scrappy notepads. So that's just what we did in this session. And then also I still have these that I did, and this is still all just working off of the scraps on my desk. So when you don't want to put your scraps away, don't. Just turn them into something, and then you can put them into your finished embellishment stash. And now I have a bunch of little things that I can include into junk journals and some works in progress. So I hope you enjoyed this little scrap busting session. I know I did. I really like taking my scraps and making something useful out of them. So if you did enjoy it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate each and every one of you. And leave me a comment, because that is one of the things that lets YouTube know to promote my channel. So thanks again for watching. Always let the serendipity find you, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye, everybody.